On today's show of Real Talk Dubai, we're talking about trends. Dubai loves trends, but trends sometimes become movements. And one of the movements is pickleball. Today we're talking to Patrick Chucri, the man who brought pickleball to Dubai, the founder of Picklers. Patrick, how are you?
Excellent. How are you, George?
It's good. It's good to see you. Thanks for being here. We've been friends for a very long time, and you're somebody in a very unique space. So I'm happy. And as you know, I love my sports. So I'm happy that we're talking today.
I'm very happy as well. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Patrick. Patrick, give me a bit of background about yourself, right? So before we get into the entrepreneurship and the business and all these things, who's Patrick Chucri? Where are you born? Where did you grow up? How'd you get into eventually pickleball and so on?
So I'll try to make it quite short. I'm Lebanese by blood. I was born in Lebanon during the war in 1981. During the war, at the age of 3, we moved to Belgium. And in Belgium, we took a house right next to a tennis club. And I have 2 older brothers that, went to their regular weekly sessions. And I used to go along with them, had nothing else to do. And I fell in love with tennis straight away. So I used to go with them and just play on the wall. And I grew up in love with tennis, playing tennis day and night whenever I could. I was part of the community. I really lived the club life. And I mean, it was a walking distance from my house. And I grew up, I was amongst the best players in Belgium. But then at the age of 12 years old, we moved back to Lebanon. It was a bit difficult. It was right after the war. So training was very different there. I was training in Belgium at least 2 to 3 hours a day, even at such a young age. Back to Lebanon, where training was maybe 1 or twice a week. And then I had other things.
Did you have access to tennis courts next to your house in Lebanon?
Well, not at all. No, we had to drive and traffic and things like that. And school and studies were harder. And it was very challenging. But then I had the chance at the age of 15 to go to the US in a tennis academy, which has always been my dream. And I went to Florida, trained there very hard. It was basically from 6 a.m. till 9:45 p.m.
All day?
Non-stop.
Tennis?
No. So we used to go to school. After school, we used to go straight to practice. It was 3 hours of tennis, 1 hour of fitness. After that, straight to dinner, then straight to studies.
Wow.
We used to go home at 9:45. We had 15 minutes break, 10 p.m., lights out.
Wow. How long did you do that for?
I did that for 2 years, my
that's
junior
crazy.
and senior year of high school. And then I got a scholarship in the U.S.
But that's interesting. Go on. You got a scholarship in the U.S.
Yeah,
and
I
then,
know this is it is very
and you're very
interesting,
humble about it. You never want to talk about it. So I'm going to make you talk about
A
it.
lot of parents, are really looking into that for their kids that enjoy sports. Could be any sport. So yes, I was around 250 in the world as a junior tennis player, under 18. And so I got, good opportunities to join some of the best tennis programs across the U.S. And I chose Ole Miss, University of Mississippi. I know it sounds a bit, awkward for somebody from Lebanon to go there, but
Mississippi.
I visited a few schools and I loved the program there. I loved the town. It was a small town, no traffic, no big buildings, very different from Dubai. But I fell in love with it. The coach was just amazing, and I decided to go there and had amazing years, and I studied international business at the same time. After that, I graduated and I turned professional for a year. Then I decided to call it quits.
So you turned professional. You played professional tennis. You played for in the Davis Cup, didn't you?
Yeah, I played Davis Cup for Lebanon. After
you can't omit these details, Patrick. This is very important. I would be very proud of that. You should be very proud of that.
I am very proud, and I think the person that I am today and is because of my past, especially around tennis, on the tennis court. Being a tennis player is very difficult mentally. It's very challenging. Why? Because you're by yourself. Even when I turned pro after I graduated, I had to find a sponsor. A tennis player trains all year long. He travels all year long. He needs to play tournaments across the world.
That's what people don't realize. Yeah, it's very expensive.
It's extremely expensive, and you're not part of a team. It makes
very
it
lonely.
Extremely difficult mentally. Golf is very similar as well. It's just that golf, a bit more players make a lot of money.
But that's what people don't realize, is that if you're 250th in the world, you're losing money. You're not making money in tennis.
I think
probably
250 exactly. At 250, I think you might break even
Yeah.
if you're careful about
And you're
every single.
in the top 250 best players in the
In
world,
the world,
right?
is one of the most popular sport.
You know, when you look at
in
the
the
NBA,
world.
you have at least 250 players in the NBA
That are
minimum.
millionaires.
That are millionaires, exactly.
Exactly.
So that's where the kind of disconnect
In
comes.
tennis, you really need to be amongst the top 100 at least, and for some time, not just 1 year. You're
Yeah.
top 100. You need
Yeah.
to be at least 5, 6.
And
7 years.
you actually, after tennis, after you retired from professional tennis, because obviously it was a bit difficult to make a living out of it,
Yeah.
you went into different industries and different branches. I mean, when I met you, you were in media at the time.
Exactly. So basically, I took a decision to quit my professional tennis career quite early. I just played 1 year pro, and I did quite well within that 1 year. I got up to 1,000 in the world in singles and 500 in the world in doubles.
Wow.
I had a lot of potential in doubles, but I thought it was too risky. I did not want to end up at 32 years old doing interviews and joining an office where my peer is 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So I took the decision that no, I think it's for the future. I think it's a wiser decision.
Did it break your heart, or were you at
not
peace with
really
that
at the
decision?
time, because it's not being a professional tennis player and you're 500-600 in the world is not what you see on TV.
Yeah.
You're in a very tough. And we didn't have the internet like it is today, where you could book all your hotels on Booking.com and your flight tickets and stuff
You
like
gotta
that.
get an agency.
I remember I used to go to, let's say, to the UK, in a town in the UK, and to play a tournament. I would go there by train, carrying all my luggages, looking for a hotel. I remember very well. I was in Bath 1 year, and I couldn't find a hotel room.
Wow.
I could not find a hotel room, and I had to practice because my match was the next day. You need to test the courts and things like that.
Yeah.
I ended up knocking on doors.
It's not the glamour. It's not the glamour you think it is.
This is me. Smile on my face, and very nice people welcomed me. But you need to find solutions, and I strongly believe that whatever I did throughout my career as a tennis player
has made you a better
has
businessman
made
today.
you, for sure.
So these lessons learned were transferred into the business world, which is something that we see often. It's very interesting as well.
Yes, definitely.
Cool. So then you went into media for quite some time.
With a marvelous group, Chucri group.
Yeah, you can.
Very close to the family. I think it's an amazing group. I felt part of the family, and I worked with them for 16 years. Started with them in 2006 in Lebanon, and then I moved to Dubai in 2007, where we met.
Yeah. That's already
grew up the ranks.
almost 20 years ago. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. And here we are sitting.
Cool.
Next to each other.
So once you were done with the media part of your career, you decided that you're going to start your own business, which was already a big move when you're an employee, and that you were going to start it in a sector that you had a passion for. So obviously
100%.
it had to revolve around tennis.
Exactly. So basically,
how did that happen?
The last 2 or 3 years of my career in the media industry at Chucri Group, I really felt the need of doing something of my own. I felt like I really need to make a difference in this world. I really felt that very strongly. And, I kept on coming up with different ideas. Obviously, it had to be part of my passion. I knew that, my passion was very clear. It's around tennis.
And you were trying to look for ideas to make money with tennis.
With tennis as a base.
Yeah.
And I came up with so many different ideas. I would study business plans and things like that until I came across a new sport called touch tennis. And, I did the business plan, etc. And it made sense. So I went with it, raised capital. I invested myself as well.
Yeah.
And went with it.
When was the moment where you said, okay, in French you say there's a déclic. When was the moment where you said, okay, I've been thinking about it, I've been looking at it, I've been studying it, I'm pressing the button now, I'm officially going to become an entrepreneur? Do you remember that moment or no? Or was it a phase? It happened over some time? Or was there a time where you said, that's it, I'm doing it?
I don't think there was really a time where I said, that's it, I'm doing it.
Because you were talking to me about it for a while, and you were saying, I'm thinking of doing this.
I'm thinking of doing this, exactly. And, and I have a wife and I have kids, lots of responsibilities.
Very important, yeah. And that was something that you were concerned with, I remember.
I was really concerned about it. Now, my wife has a great job, great supporter. I mean, she's just incredible. But I was I was worried. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Obviously, you read all these articles and books and things like that about entrepreneurship and startups. And you know the challenge, especially in a city like Dubai, where it's extremely competitive in any single industry that you go into. You would know very well.
Yeah.
It's very competitive. And I really felt like I really know my stuff, especially with the expertise that I got growing up in Belgium. The club vibe, and this is really what
you
I
wanted
felt
to build
was
and reproduce that.
missing in Dubai.
Yeah.
Now with tennis, the ROI doesn't work. The real estate of a tennis court is way too big.
Interesting.
I wanted it to be indoors. It's too challenging. There was no way I was going to get into that. So touch tennis was the call. And
so basically in tennis that the courts are way too big, so you need a lot of real estate. Real estate in Dubai is not cheap. There's so much you can charge for a tennis court or for tennis course or whatever it is, so it just didn't make sense.
Exactly.
So touch tennis was the solution that you
touch tennis,
said.
which is a much smaller court.
So touch tennis is like tennis, it's just with a softer ball, a smaller court, right?
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
It's a modified version of tennis. It's a sponge ball. So basically, I mean, if I hit it as hard as I want on somebody, it won't hurt.
And I remember I was part of that journey because you came to us at Virtue Zone to set it up for you. And I know it was very challenging because you wanted to have a coffee shop and you wanted to have a club vibe, like you say, and a shop and all these things. How did touch tennis go?
So touch tennis, we were the first club in the world.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I would say
When
there's
you
around...
pioneer, you pioneer.
Exactly. Like I really want to make a difference, right? I went far. So touch tennis is a great sport. Touch tennis is a sport that is played by around 50,000 players around the world, which is nothing. To have a club, with this type of investment. However, we did well. We were not profitable the first year. However, we were growing.
Which is normal for
is
first
very
year
normal.
business.
I was expecting, 3 years and so on. But, it's always challenging. Like
of course.
There's
you
always
want
the
it
hope.
To be quicker.
There's always the hope, etc. So it was very challenging from that perspective because what happened with touch tennis is it's basically tennis. It's difficult like tennis, but it's not tennis.
Yeah.
And people like to follow trends. And unfortunately, the good tennis player that would come, they would really understand the sport.
You had Roger Federer to come play in the club and stuff.
We had the chance to welcome Roger Federer at the club. It was
I remember.
incredible.
That must have been a nice...
it was an incredible experience. Such a gentleman. It was really nice. But the challenge with touch tennis is that, first of all, it was not popular enough. And second of all, it's not easy to play. Just like tennis. Tennis is a difficult sport to play.
And that's one of the reasons paddle has picked up so much recently is because it's an easy game to learn, whereas tennis takes years and years and years and years to
paddle
to perfect.
And pickleball as well.
So we're gonna get to pickleball in a second. So touch tennis, it was doing okay.
It was doing okay. We were growing, but then I felt like we have 6 courts, lots of big investment. You've seen the club. It's a big capex, big opex. Very good location. It's indoors. There's a lot of, and I felt like I need to figure something out here because I was a bit worried about the future of the sport.
Of the sport in general.
And I've always known about pickleball. Obviously, I'm from the industry and paddle, etc. Paddle was out of the question for me at the time.
Why?
For 2 reasons. One of them, I think that there were too many courts at the time.
Saturated market, yeah.
Yes. So it was another set of challenge.
Yeah.
And number 2, the warehouse where I was, the height of the ceiling was not high enough for paddle. Paddle requires, I believe, around at least 8 meters of height. We have a maximum of 7 meters. And when I do something, I like to do it right. Or else,
especially being an ex-professional, yeah.
Exactly, or else I don't do it. So so pickleball was the obvious, second choice. I was very skeptical about pickleball. Coming from a tennis background, if you speak to every single tennis player,
he's going to tell you pickleball is a joke.
Very proud.
Yeah, very very arrogant. Let's call it. They're very arrogant. And tennis in general is a bit like golf is an upper class sport, and there is a bit of a snobism around tennis. That's and true. Let's call it what it is. And yes, they tend to make fun of both paddle and pickleball players in general.
True.
Yeah.
However, now, because paddle, in this part of the world, because paddle has become so popular,
and in Europe,
see a lot of tennis players that used to, criticize paddle are now all into paddle.
Yeah.
And basically, this tells you a few things, like you need to learn the sport before you judge it.
Yeah.
And I actually wrote a post on LinkedIn about this.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
About this very
Look,
subject.
I think paddle and pickleball are the great what I call them the great equalizers,
Yeah.
because you can play paddle, pickleball. I think to a lesser extent, but also in the same way. If you're tall, if you're short, if you're young, if you're old, if you're fat, if you're slim, if you're, it's a great equalizer because
Pickleball
people,
even more.
all kinds of people, all kinds of people can play it. And for a guy who plays paddle regularly,
Yeah.
and I really want to come and play pickleball.
I know.
I grew up in Canada, right? So North America is more pickleball than paddle. Let's face it. Right now it's pickleball in North America and paddle in Europe and here.
True.
I think it's amazing because post COVID, and I think this is something that you told me once. In tennis, how much distance do you have between two players?
There's around 30 meters.
Around 30 meters. Whereas in paddle, I believe it's around less than 15 meters between the two
court is
players.
20, and then you're a bit inside.
So you're playing 2-on-2, so it's more of a social sport. There's a lot of banter involved. There's all that. So people are getting together. So and that's one of the reasons why I read somewhere paddle, pickleball, all that became very popular after COVID, because people wanted a sport where they can actually socialize rather than a sport where you're 30 meters apart. You can't hear the other guy. You can barely see him. And it takes you 20 years to become good at the sport.
That's
So
very
that
true.
was a big... Okay, so... What was... Let's do this again then. When was the point where you said, you know what? I'm switching to pickleball.
So
And by that time, you've built your touch tennis business. You have your clients. You have your day camps, your children camps. You have a store full of touch tennis merchandise. It's not easy, and it's quite gutsy to say, you know what, I'm pivoting.
exactly the famous word pivot.
I'm pivoting.
Exactly.
And I remember you came to see me in the office and you told me, George, I don't, and in the times where you were saying, you know what, I'm not convinced with this. I mean, it's doing okay, but it's not something, I don't see it growing in the future. And I'm not sure if I even told you about pickleball. I said, maybe you should change that. I'm not sure if we had that discussion. I can't remember. We might have.
Because I know that you've known of pickleball way ahead of a lot of people here.
And then I said, and then the next thing I know, you call me and you say, guess what? I'm switching to pickleball. And I was like, wow, after all this investment and this effort.
So to go back to, I was very skeptical about the sport. But
Even pickleball?
Pickleball. I'm talking about just pickleball. Yeah. But then, I'm like, I was here when paddle started.
Yeah.
When paddle just started. And I saw exactly what happened. A lot of people were judging paddle, a lot of tennis players, because the way that they popularized paddle is by bringing in tennis players that started having fun, more social, especially in Spain. Now, the sport was invented in Mexico, paddle, but then it became very popular in Spain and stayed in Spain for a very long time until it started expanding across the world. And so when I... what did I want to tell you? On peut bloquer.
Ouais. Recoup your thoughts.
So when
the sport was the sport was invented in Mexico.
I wanted to make a point. So to go back to, are you going to be able to cut that?
Yeah, don't worry, they will edit it.
Okay. So exactly a year and a bit more ago, so last March, I would say, so I was very intrigued. I was talking about me being skeptical about pickleball. But then I kept reading and learning more about the sport. And I kept seeing all these ex-professional tennis players. And I'm talking about people that were top 10 in the world tennis players.
Now playing pickleball.
And so addicted to the sport and loving the sport and playing professionally now. They quit their tennis career and now playing professional. Obviously towards the end of their tennis career, but they moved to pickleball.
So giving the sports credibility.
So I'm like, there must be something about it. It's growing so fast. It's incredible. And I was like, all right, I'm going to try pickleball. And I took the decision. Now, it was very challenging with the partners and all these things, the pivot, all of that. But I decided to change only 3 courts to pickleball. I said, we're going to change 3 courts to pickleball. And then 6 months later, we'll do a proper
What
comparison.
was your partner's reaction? Were they like, okay, do it? Or were they like, oh my God, here we go again with another one of his fantasies?
Well, they were very afraid. And, they really wanted more research.
Yeah.
I tried to give them as much as I could. Unfortunately, there's no data. I cannot bring data from the US.
Yeah.
It's not comparable.
Yeah.
There's already 40 million people playing pickleball in the US. Here it's an unknown sport. There is no proper data in the whole region. So I did the research as much as I could. I made sure that the investment to transfer the course from pickleball from touch tennis to pickleball was very minimal.
How much was the investment?
It was 40,000 dirhams. That's
okay,
it.
That's
to transfer those 3 courts.
swallowable.
I didn't do anything. I did a very quick logo, pickleball by Touch Tennis Sports Club. The club was called Touch Tennis Sports Club, and that was it. And I said, okay, so this happened in July 2024. And I said, we're going to wait until Christmas time, end of the year, and we'll make a proper comparison, 3 touch tennis courts versus 3 pickleball courts. And then I will learn more of the sport, the coaches will as well, and we'll see what's going to happen. It took me 2 weeks to take this decision. Not
right away,
myself,
you saw it right away.
Everybody. I got addicted to the sport. I started understanding the sport. It's a lot more complicated.
And did you have people? And were people coming mostly out of curiosity, or were people that used to play or that have played pickleball that were just that we want a court, we want to play, we couldn't find a place to play pickleball?
So there was a very small community of players playing pickleball here in Dubai, because there was a few courts, like 1 court here, 1 court there. But like we're talking about like 50 people, which is nothing. I mean, you need thousands to run a club like that to do well. So, but I saw we already had a very strong database, very strong. You know me. I know a lot of people. I'm good with people. People enjoyed their time at the club, even with touch tennis. So, and we never closed the club one day. We did. All
so you did the transition without
at night. Yeah,
wow.
It was at night. We closed 3 courts. We did the other 3 courts were opened. And we did the transfer. I saw exactly what was happening to people. And your main target audience is the people that are beginners towards intermediates. And these people would have fun right away. Yeah. They don't even need a lesson. Of course, lessons are very important if you really want to get better. But they were having fun right away. You could just hear the laughs.
Yeah. And you switched the other courts right away.
And I was very much on ground the whole time. This is how I've run the business.
You've always done it from day one, yeah.
Exactly, and hard work and consistency and all that stuff. And the decision was taken very quickly.
And then you switched the whole club to pickleball, and you called it Picklers.
We rebranded.
Great name, by the way.
It's a cool name.
So how many people do you have coming to the club today?
So we have on average around 110 people right now coming to the club.
A day?
A day. So we count that. On the weekends, it's tough to find courts. We have a very... there's a few pillars that are extremely important in succeeding in a club. A lot of people think that, pickleball or paddle, because it's very similar. It's the same business type. I'm just going to build a club, build good courts, and put it on an app, and that's it. It doesn't
work that way. So tell us more about that. Why doesn't it work that way?
Well, as soon as competition comes in, then you're going to get eaten up.
Yeah.
Community. You need to learn how to build a community, and that takes time. You need an image of the club. So in our club, obviously, it's me because I'm always there. I know everybody by name, but you really need to do all of these things and to be able to build that community. Today, we have a WhatsApp community group of Picklers.
How many people in that community?
We're 800 people.
Wow, that's a lot.
We launched our app in April. Already 2,000 people downloaded the app and created an account. Picklers app.
Wow.
It's white labeled as Picklers. Obviously, we didn't come up with it. It's a big app in the US called Play by Point. But it's growing very quickly. So this is the community aspect is one very important pillar. Another very important pillar is programming. You need to be...
To cater to everyone.
Yeah. So we have a intro to pickleball session for an hour and a half with a coach for 20 dirhams.
Wow, that's really accessible, yeah.
Plus VAT, sorry. Yeah. So that's 21 dirhams.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you have to understand these things. And then we have things that are competitive. We have things that are, we split things by levels as well. So we were able to develop that.
Tournaments, organized tournaments, camps for
we
kids.
We have weekly competitive...
Your camps for kids were always something that was
We do
good.
camps for kids. With a company, in partnership with a company called La Folie. Okay. We do team building, we do birthdays,
well done.
We do everything.
Well, I'm proud of you because you pivoted. You're one of those people that pivoted and they were successful. Not everybody that pivots succeeds in business. So I'm happy for you because I know how hard you worked to build this and how lonely it was sometimes. and to get the backing of your partners, to convince your partners, and you never gave up, although you did struggle in the first few months, especially with the touch tennis. You know, I always tell people, you know, having your own business is like a roller coaster, but I feel like you were at the bottom of the roller coaster much more than you were on the top of the roller coaster in the first few months. And I think it was a great move for you to pivot. You think pickleball is a trend, or do you think pickleball will just grow? I mean, obviously you wouldn't, you've thought about that, but
it's definitely going to keep on growing. It's growing massively. So we know about the US, fastest growing sport for the past 4 years. Now what's happening in Asia, countries like India, Vietnam, Malaysia, the Philippines, China just invested $2 billion into pickleball. Chinese government or the Ministry of Sports came up and said, so pickleball is a mix of tennis, table tennis, and badminton.
yeah.
They came and said, we're the best in table tennis. We're the best in badminton. We should be the best in pickleball. We need to invest in the sport.
Very good.
Every school will have pickleball courts. We're gonna help people build clubs and so on.
And that's what I want to talk about now. I want to talk about the future of the sport, the future of the business, and so on and so forth. So where do you see pickleball in Dubai 5 years from now? First of all, how many clubs do you think there will be 5 years from now? You're the first club, right?
We're the first pickleball-only club, yes.
Pickleball-only club. Are there any other clubs that you know of that are in the works now?
Yes. So there is another club called Pickle Turf. It's a paddle club called Just Paddle that I'm sure you've heard
Just
of.
Paddle, yeah.
It's in Mina Rashid.
Yeah.
They had a space there. So Pickle Turf is a company, pickleball
That
company,
picked it up.
local one that
you
took the
think-
space and built 4 courts.
And you think there
they're
will
growing as well.
be more and more clubs that open in pickleball?
Yes, for sure. If you just look at the past 2 months, what's been happening, I have so many people that come into the club and act like, it's fine. You can tell me you want to open a pickleball club.
Yeah.
You don't need to ask
They
me.
all
And
come
ask
and
me.
say, yeah.
You know, when you live there, you understand.
Worldwide, what's a bigger sport at the moment, pickleball or paddle?
It's
They're
a $1 million
kif-kif.
question.
Yeah.
Personally, I think pickleball is bigger because of Asia, and
And
personally,
the US.
and the US as well. And personally, I think pickleball is going to get a lot bigger.
Is
because
pickleball
of
more
cost effective?
cost effective? I know it is. Is it more popular in Asia than paddle?
Yes.
It is. Okay,
Yeah,
so
in
you have
those
Asia
countries
and the US on your side.
And
so.
the US, you have Canada. Now it's growing
Yeah.
across Europe. So in London, in August, there was a tournament, a pickleball tournament, 4,000 registrations for one tournament. That tournament ran in 4 days. The 4,000 registrations in 10 minutes online.
Amazing.
But paddle is definitely going to keep growing as well.
Yes, I think both
It's a
sports
great
will keep
sport.
growing. And I
Yes.
think they're similar sports, but they're also different sports. And I think everybody who enjoys sport would enjoy both games. I've played both, and I enjoy both very much. And it's nice. It's nice to change between the two anyway.
Yes.
Which sport in Dubai do you think is overrated today? And I know your first reflex would be paddle, probably to say that. But besides paddle, for a tennis player, I would understand how you would say paddle is overrated. But any other sports that are played or let's say fitness things, do you think are overrated? For example, I see a lot of people cycling, right? It's a big trend at the moment. Cycling. I went and cycled 120 kilometers. I think that's overrated. To me, doing a solo sport is not something that's something that's
we're
very
all different.
interesting. We're all different. I have some of my friends that are great leaders in the business community that tell me, George, it's the best thing you can do because you're alone. It gives you free your mind. It gives you time to focus, to think, to this, all that. What is a sport that you think is overrated that you never really, and you're a sports guy, that you never really thought was that interesting that people go crazy about?
It's a good and tough question to answer.
It's a tough
honestly.
question. Yeah.
My first reaction would definitely be paddle. I mean, people talk about paddle like it's this, and I know it's the same with pickleball in other countries.
Correct.
But when I look at people playing, and it's the same with pickleball, right? I'm talking about paddle because it's more common here, and I see, the average person going and playing paddle, and you look at the game. There's literally no exchanges. There's they keep missing, and I mean they're just poor players, which is completely fine, and that's the beauty of the sport. They're able to attract and get people moving, doing these kind of things. And it's the same with pickleball. I mean, we're all different. Ask me to sing, for example. I'll be probably the worst singer in the world. It's just not my thing. Just like other people playing a racket sport is not their thing. So you look at them,
Hand-eye
and then
coordination,
it's just
so you think it's too easy? You think paddle is an easy sport?
It is
For a tennis
racket
player,
sport.
yeah.
Yes,
For a
it's
racket sport,
it's
you think
definitely
it's
an
easy.
easy one,
Yeah.
but pickleball is even easier.
Yeah.
Is even easier pickleball
Okay.
than paddle. That's it's quite known because the ball is slower.
Okay. What's the biggest money lesson you've learned from building Picklers? Let's call it touch tennis and
Yeah.
Picklers. From your experience as an entrepreneur, what's the biggest money lesson that you've learned? Biggest, call it mistake you've made with money, or the biggest good thing that you've made with money?
Good question.
People
Joe.
ask me
So-
that question. I can answer you.
Yeah.
I can answer you what my first mistake was,
Yeah.
and then maybe
Go
that'll
ahead.
inspire you.
Would love to hear.
So my first mistake was when I first opened my first company was I spent way too much money on my office. I thought that my office had to look professional, it had to look good, it had to do that, and
And you probably thought this will get me more deals.
this will get me more deals.
Yeah.
The first 3 years, I didn't have a single client come to the office. I went to all my clients,
Yeah.
and I had spent probably half of the capital I had to fit out the office and get the office and all that. That was my first mistake, and I always tell people be very stingy with your money when you're starting up until you start producing revenue and getting revenue. Then you can go ahead and do everything you want. But be very frugal with your spending at the beginning. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned?
So basically, when I was building the business plan, although I know the country quite well, I've been
Yeah.
here for a long time. You put in a budget, right? There is a budget, and you do your study, and this is what you need. Whatever you come up with, double it.
Double it, really? That
Double
much?
it in terms of investment and in terms of time before you can open.
Yeah.
There are too many challenges, and if you fall into it almost happened to us, right? It was very extremely challenging just to open the club, and you've already spent a couple million and you're still worried, can I open now? Will I open in 6 months? Will I not? What is going to happen? And
Will
then
all
you
the
feel
money
this
just
huge
be sunk?
responsibility because you have investors as well. I invested myself as well, but I'm okay losing my own money. I'm not okay. I'm not going to deal with it
Losing
well if
my-
I lose my investors' money, or at least before even trying.
For start, and
Right?
did that cross your mind? Did you say I
course
might
it did.
never open and
I've
everything
had
will
so
be
many
lost and
sleepless
it'll be
nights, and
it's going to be totally embarrassing?
exactly. And the only way I could deal with this type of situation is just get to work.
Yeah.
Just let me focus on the work, because these are the things I can control. I cannot control if I'm going to get that license or not. I cannot control if George is going to love pickleball or touch tennis at the time or not. But I can control my actions.
Yeah.
And this is what I focused on, and it kept me sane somehow.
I'm glad, but I'm glad that it worked out at the end. Do you see a good level of pickleball players here? Do you think that in the future Dubai could produce pickleball champions, for example?
So definitely there is a good level. There is definitely talent anywhere in the world. You need the ecosystem around each sport in order to create
So
worldwide
training academy
you need,
coaches.
yeah. So for instance, if you look at paddle, which I believe is quite there, honestly, there's a lot of courts, there's a lot of tournaments, there's
lot of coaches.
There's a lot of coaches, good coaches. I believe the ecosystem is there to produce a player, but that takes 20 years.
Does it?
Yeah.
Okay.
You need that ecosystem like it is today. And then in 20 years, you're going to have maybe
A champion
one of
from
the
Dubai.
best, a champion from Dubai or the region. Yeah.
Interesting. Another question I wanted to ask you is if Picklers disappeared tomorrow, let's just say for some reason you had to close Picklers tomorrow, what is the biggest lesson you would have learned from this whole experience? And there's many. I'm sure there's many lessons. There's so many. But what is the single or the first one that comes to mind that you say, you know what? I'm sure today, I know you, and you're somebody who's quite Cartesian and who thinks in a very rational way. And I'm sure it's crossed your mind before. Now that things are better, I'm sure you something crossed your mind. You said, I should have done this then, or I should have, if I had done that there, or something like that. What is it? What is that thing that comes to mind?
Honestly speaking, I don't think I have a lot of regrets.
That's very good.
Because I've been working so hard.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you feel good at the end of the day. You know that you've tried everything. It's the worst thing in the world to fail at something and then to go back and look at, you know what, I didn't do this. I should have, etc. So I don't have a lot of regrets. One thing for sure is the capital part, the investment part, I would be a lot more careful with it.
As in
making
spending
sure
it, or
spending it.
raising more.
I was always
I don't think you're the type that would just splurge.
I was always very careful. I always say, I'm very generous in life, but if you come to my house and so on, but or when we go out and things, but with my business, I'm very cheap.
So you would have researched. So you would have raised more money.
I would have, yes, but then again, if I knew what this type of project required, with all the challenges that we face, I might have not done it.
Yeah, that's why you learn, and that's why you're a pioneer.
So maybe it was good in a way. Also, another thing that's very important for a new entrepreneur when you're raising capital and you find investors, I think it's very important to get partners that understand entrepreneurship. I don't know if you agree with me or not.
Absolutely. I think I'm a big fan of investors that bring value. Right, money is easy to find today. Everybody, especially in this part of the world, everybody has money. I can raise $1 million in probably 15 minutes if I wanted to. But to bring investors that add value, whether with their knowledge, with their contacts, with their experience, I think that's something that's very important. And as you know, I have a few businesses besides Virtue Zone, and I always associate myself with people who are expert in the industry, people who have experience in a certain industry or in a certain business, and that's proven very successful as a method of investment, or a method of starting a business. So you're one of the lucky ones that turned his passion into a business.
Yeah, I am.
So what advice would you give to people who, just like you, 10 years ago or 5 years ago, said, I want to turn my passion into a business. I'm sick of being an employee and I want to do it. What's your
just get to work and do it.
As simple as that.
Yeah, just get to work and do it.
Stop thinking about it. Start doing it.
I mean, if it's there, it's not like you dreamt of something the next day. You're like, I need to do this. No.
You've been thinking about it all your life.
Exactly. You've been thinking about it all your life. You've done it all your life. And especially, with pickleball being the first pickleball club here, you have to be very much of an influencer in terms of the sport. And what happened? Pioneer. Exactly. So if I was not an ex-professional tennis player and you come to the club and I tell you, you should do this and this and this sport is, you'll be like, what is he talking about, this guy? But then what happens, even if you don't know me, you walk in and you start talking to me, because I spent hours on the court of people just booking courts and me spending time with them on the court so that would understand even the rules of the sport. It's beautiful.
Interesting. Yeah. I want you, as a last question, I want you to finish this sentence for me, not as a last question, but as a last topic. The future of sport in Dubai will be. Over to you.
There's going to be a lot of sports out there. I can't finish that question perfectly, but pickleball is definitely going to get much bigger. If you look at the last 2 months, the number of investors that have approached us, and even people transparent enough to come and say, and smart enough, I think, to come and say, Patrick, listen, we've been thinking of doing this. What do you think? And I'm an open book. I don't believe in, I can share the whole business plan. Competition is very healthy. It's going to help popularize the sport. So I want people to open.
The more clubs you have, the more people will play.
Exactly. So just pickleball is definitely going to grow a lot. That's Patrick, for sure. And Paro is still going to be there if people want to know. Yeah, and tennis as well.
We love them all. Patrick, thank you for being with us, for sharing your story, the highs and lows of being an entrepreneur. I'm so happy for you that you were able to turn your passion into a success.
Thank you so much.
You deserve all the success because I saw how hard you worked. So
thank you so much, you very George. Much. And I have a small surprise for you,
really?
And not just for you, by the way, because I know you have somebody very important at home supporting you.
My better half.
Your better half.
My better half.
Exactly. So basically, this is our tote bag that we designed.
Oh, very cool.
Right.
Thank you.
Very simple.
I like your logo, by the way. It's very simple, very clean.
And this is
this I would imagine is for my second half. I hope.
Unless you can choose. And then for you, just a t-shirt like the one.
Very
I'm wearing.
Cool. Patrick, thank you so much. And again, thank you for being on the show and for having shared your experience with us. We hope you enjoyed this session of Real Talk Dubai, and we'll see you next time.